Have you ever gotten to skip the line? I'm Greg. I'm the Introverted Networker. And today I'm going to talk to you about skipping the line and how to do it. What do I mean by skipping the line? When it comes to networking, I'm talking about how do you use your network to skip the line? Okay. So let's define what it means by skipping the line. And the best way I can describe this is, have you ever gone to a club or a restaurant where there's a line of people out the door waiting to get in, and there's somebody at the front who's deciding who goes in, who doesn't go in, or when they go in? That's usually the bouncer, the head of security, or the person at the gate. And everybody's waiting in line, and whenever that person feels like it, they let them in. And so you can get in the back of the line and just wait. And I'm sure we've all been there, and we've seen people walk past the line and go all the way up to the front of the line, and they talk to the person who's running the door, and they get right in. And of course, everybody in the line gets super pissed off about that, right? We all hate to see people cutting the line. It's sort of, we feel like the line is, you got to pay your dues and stand in line and you'll get your turn. It's all about getting your turn. And we're probably all secretly a little bit jealous of those people who just walk up to the front of the line, and because they know that person at the front at the door who's running the door, they get in. That happens a lot, whether it's job search or other things in our life. We need to find the person who can help us skip the line. This reminds me of a story I'll tell real quick. And I talked about this back in issue 45 of the Introverted Networker newsletter. Last summer, I went to a concert at a venue here in Denver. It's known as Red Rocks. You've probably heard of it if you're into live music. Most people have. We went and we were going to see a band, and my wife knew the sound man who worked for the band. She had worked with him a long time ago, and he was in town. And he reached out to her and said, "Hey, do you want to come to the concert?" And of course, we were like, "Yeah, free concert. Sounds good. That's awesome. Who doesn't want to go to a free concert, especially at Red Rocks?" He said, "Oh, I'll also get you backstage passes." And we were kind of like, "Whoa, we didn't need backstage passes, but that's great." And so we go to this concert. We've got our backstage passes on, and we've got our tickets and everything. And on the way in, there's this gigantic line coming down these stairs of people just waiting to go through security. And we walked up there, and one of the people working there said, "Oh, you guys, you're backstage. You get to go to the front of the line." I mean, we got to walk past all these people, and we got to get in really quickly. And then we went backstage, which was awesome. But again, it kind of highlights that idea that we knew somebody through a connection my wife had from a long time ago who could get us to the front of the line and get us past it. And it kind of, in that instance, the lesson was, this was somebody my wife had known from a long time ago. She had kind of kept that relationship, kept in touch with this person when this guy was in town with his two bands that were on tour. He reached out to my wife, and she got together with him. And, there's a lot of people he could have probably in his life reached out to and said, "Hey, do you want to come to a concert?" But he thought of my wife. And it really highlighted to me at the time, and it's coming up now as I think about this concept of jumping to the front of the line, that those people throughout your life, those are going to be the people that will help you get to the front of the line. It could be a former coworker. It could be a former boss. It could be somebody you go to, a community organization with, or just somebody who in your life. Those people, if they know you, are likely to help you out and help you get to the front of the line. Let's go back to the idea that we're all supposed to wait in line. This is sort of a cultural thing, especially in the United States. I think we all feel like it's unfair for somebody else to get in front of the line. Okay, I get that. And don't you want to try to, put yourself ahead of other people? I guess the way I say it sounds bad coming out like that. Let's not think of it as standing in a physical line. Let's think of it as something when you're applying for a job. If you're applying for a job with everybody else, and you put your application in, you send your resume in, you do that online, you're just going into the same pool of candidates with everybody else. You're just in the ATS, the applicant tracking system. And you're just like anybody else. You don't stand out at all. Your resume may be great, but there's hundreds of other resumes. Is the recruiter actually even going to get to yours before they make a decision? Or is there going to be some algorithm that reads it and decides, well, we're not going to move forward with you? Does that seem fair? I mean, that's basically waiting in the line with everybody else. But if you need a job, that's probably not going to get it done. Instead, if you can connect with people and start to build that relationship, you're going to stand out. You're going to stand out from that pile of applications and resumes enough to maybe get to the top so that when they're thinking about who to give an interview to, they're going to pick you. The best way to do this, the best way to get to the top of the application pile is through a referral. What I mean is somebody in the company tells the recruiter, the hiring manager, they should talk to you. Because I'll tell you from personal experience and from also hiring people, if you are referred, you are preferred. So you become the preferred candidate if you have a referral attached to you. If somebody refers a candidate to me and says, you should talk to this person, it's not just the person's resume, it's the person who made the referral. I'm taking their professional judgment and I'm factoring that into my decision. All else equal, I'm going to go with the referral and I'm at least going to talk to the person. Now, that doesn't mean I'm going to hire the person. So a lot of times people confuse this with saying like, oh, well, if you get referred in, then, that's kind of nepotism. It could be your friend and they said, hey, hire my friend. And people really don't like that. I'm not saying you're going to get the job. And that's not the point. The point is that you're going to get a chance to have an interview and prove what you can do, or maybe multiple interviews. You're at least going to get to talk to people. You're going to stand out from the pile of resumes and all the other people who didn't do that. You're going to have a better shot. So let's go back to the sort of the club analogy. You're standing in line with all the other applicants, meaning you're in the applicant tracking system. If you have a referral or the person who's guarding the door, and it's, maybe it's not the bouncer, maybe it's not the head of security, but it's the general manager of the club. If you know the general manager of the club, you're definitely getting in the club. And once you get in the club, it's not over, right? You still got to dance. You still got to put on the moves. You still got to show what you got in order to get the job. It's getting in the door that is the key here. And that's where your network comes in. That's where connecting with people you worked with in the past, getting introduced to new people, finding people who have things in common with you online, on LinkedIn, and starting to grow that relationship is how you get past the door. It's how you get past that velvet rope. It's how you get the chance to show what you can do. We've talked a lot in the past about how to network, and a lot of my other videos talk about starting with who you know, connecting online, having in real life conversations, being very generous, giving, being respectful of people's time, being specific with what you want. All those things apply here. All of those things. Once you have those relationships, that's what you're going to use again to get past that line and get in the door. Those are my thoughts on lines, skipping the lines, and how networking can help you. I hope that helps you think about it a little bit differently and that you don't feel like it's a bad thing to skip the line, especially when it comes to a job search. I'm respectful of lines. I'm fine with waiting in them most of the time, but I'm going to tell you what, it feels awesome when you get to skip that line. When you know somebody and you get in the door, you feel sort of special. And if you've worked hard to create relationships with people and people remember you and they want to do something for you, then that says something about you too. So don't feel bad if you've got special treatment because you developed a relationship with somebody and they want to help you out. I hope that helps. Give it a try. Let me know how it goes. Please subscribe to this channel, subscribe to my newsletter. I would love to hear how this is going. Tell me what you're struggling with, what you need help with. That's what I'm here for. As always, go out, meet some interesting people this week. Always be connecting.